WHOW.
It's the WHOW Morning Show. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio this morning is Clinton City Administrator Tony Harris. Tony, how are we doing after the meeting last night?
Good, Ben. Great. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you taking time for us. As always, following up the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. But before we dive into the agenda, the constant revolving topic with the city is thinking about new city hall, new fire station, new police station. I'm just worried or thinking about what's new on that front, Tony.
Well, there's really not a whole lot new. Helen and I, the mayor and I, were in, I don't know, it's been a couple weeks ago, I guess, and
Sure.
we talked about that, and she wanted to identify a location by the end of the month last month, and we didn't make that. Again, there's really no changes. We're just in the very early preliminary stages of that. We've not identified a location. We've got a couple possible locations. We've got, talking to both of us, the mayor and I, talking to Clint. We've got a verbal commitment to how much money we've got to spend. Again, that's not really budgeted, but we've got a verbal commitment of what we can get budgeted for the next year and the year after. So we know what that amount is. It's not a lot. So that's kind of the problem. We're trying to find land that we can get very reasonable, because we can't, we know we can't afford to put a lot of money into land. And if there's a building already on it, we can't afford to tear it down. That's expensive. We've been through that. We just finished up with, a project there with that. And that was very expensive to tear that old building down up off the square. So again, in the very, very early stages, trying to identify land opportunities, and that's about it where we're at right now.
Gotcha.
Some speculations on some areas, but in the very early stages of it, and there's not really a whole lot of more information on that side of it.
Sure. So obviously affordability is one of the things that we're looking for with that potential new properties.
Mm-hmm.
Just remind us what other, things that you guys are keeping in mind when you're looking for a location for these buildings.
Well, there's lots that go into it, for the city hall, not so much, but when you talk about the police department, the fire department, a lot goes into that. Like, okay, the location, how is that accessible? When the trucks are going out, those type of things. What are they getting into if they're going on an emergency call? How much traffic is in the area? So, those type of things we're looking at. And that's a lot, when you're looking at a land deal. What's the building going to look like on that? Was there a building on that before that might create some issues underground when we go to build? So, there's a lot that goes into it, and we that's part of our strategic plan. That was, I think, the strategic plan is like 2-3 years old, somewhere in there now, and that was in that plan that the citizens, they want a new city hall, fire department, police department, and that's why we've kind of got aggressive on it. Again, not too far along on it, but that was talked about in that. So that's one reason why we're doing it. And we don't want to commit to just one.
Sure.
We don't want to commit to new city hall or just the fire department. The mayor and the entire council, they're committed to doing all three. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do all three right away, but what we do want to do is announce the location of all three, and then it be like a 5-year project.
Gotcha.
Is it going to take 5 years to get all three built? It could, but what I'm trying to say is it's not going to take 5 years to get at least one built. We want to identify the land, and then get a plan together, a 5-year plan as to how we're going to develop that land with each building.
Gotcha.
So
definitely.
Yep. So that's the update on that.
Yeah. And just really quick, Tony, the Facebook machine will do what the Facebook machine always does, and I'm just curious if there's any things out there, any misconceptions or anything that you just want to put to bed, or, use this money for that thing or that for this thing that you just want to address while we're talking about it here.
I've purposely disconnected myself to some of these sites So I don't even look at them anymore because it does get kind of discouraging. When you look at, if you just take a good look at what's been going on in the last year and a half, 2 years within the city, there's lots of good things. So to get distracted by the negativity, I do my best not to look at that. So I don't know a whole lot of it. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people like to keep me updated on some of the misinformation that's going around, and there's a lot of it. But some of it that I've heard that we've got, we're set on a location. That is incorrect. We're not set on a location, or we're not releasing information that we have. That is not true either. There's when we're talking to landowners, we just can't. We have to be careful what kind of information that we do release when we're talking to landowners, because they tell us, hey, I don't want this out yet. We're talking to landowners that are willing to sell, but they don't want to put it on the market, or they want to give us first opportunity before they put it on the market. So they don't want that information out there. So we're very careful. Now with FOIA, we're required to release certain information.
Of course.
Let me back up. Not certain documents. That's what FOIA is for. So if we have the documents, we're required to release those documents. But what a lot of people don't understand, in the early stages like this, we may not have those documents. So there's a lot of misinformation out there that we're hiding information. That's just not the case. And I would, highly, I would tell people that if they have concerns about locations or anything when it comes to the locations of those 3 buildings, contact me or contact the mayor. We would be more than happy to have a one-on-one conversation. Be very careful what you're reading on Facebook. Again, we'd be more than happy to have a conversation. We may not be able to get into the weeds as to details of locations and things like that, but we're willing to talk about it. And we want to be transparent, but there are just some times where when it's land deals, we just can't.
Absolutely.
And again, these land deals, it's not like we're looking at multiple locations. We're looking at a few locations. But again, we want to make sure these buildings are going to be around for a long time. And we don't want to have, we don't want to build a building and then 2 years down the road, oh, we didn't think about this. So we're taking our time with this. And we're in the very, very early stages of it.
Definitely.
So
definitely.
that answers your question.
Absolutely it does. Okay. Absolutely it does, Tony. Well, while you're mentioning those awesome and those great things that are going on around the city of Clinton, you had a big announcement at the meeting last night, and that was this the residential exterior improvement program. Let's just do an overview of what this program is going to be and how it's going to go along with these big beautification efforts that are going on in town.
Well, this is a part of our I've been here talking about TIF since I've been on the job, and that's been a little over a year and a half. And this is part of our current TIF number 4, which is what we call the downtown TIF. Primarily the use of the downtown TIF is as a facade grant to beautify exterior facade grants, helping the buildings downtown, making those look better, so that's what we've typically done with this TIF 4. But the location of the TIF, it's a smaller TIF, and it's not a real successful TIF, but there's some money in there. So what our thought, and I want to give credit to Clint, our treasurer. He was very helpful when I first came on the job. My first week there, Clint came to me with this idea, and I liked the idea, and that's why I ran with it. But he's been great, and this is kind of a partnership between Clint and I. We started working on this. We attended the conference last year, the IML conference that talked about this, and it's just like what you said. It's a residential program, unlike the business downtown program. It's all part of that same grant, but it's a small area. It runs down South Center Street from the square South Center to Van Buren, but only on the east side of the road on Center. But it also goes over to Monroe Street, just on one side of the road on Monroe Street, on the west side of the road, again down to Van Buren. So there's a limited number of homes there. We have $50,000 in that grant program this fiscal year, and that runs through May, the end of April of next year. So we have 10 homes. There's a cap of $5,000. It's a 75% grant. So the city pays 75% and the homeowner pays 25% of the grant. If it's an elderly person, we're working on some programs too that might even be able to help that 25, very early stages of that, but
Sure.
maybe even able to help that in that 25%. We're working on some things there.
Great.
That kind of goes hand in hand with the mayor's project, the block by block program,
Hmm.
again to beautify the area. I mentioned last night, this is kind of it's a pilot program that we're putting into place here, but we're hoping to expand this residential program with the new TIF, the new TIF 5. And I've talked about that a lot too. That new TIF 5, the boundaries are still in the very early stages, but we believe that that's going to be a pretty significant part of Clinton. And there's going to be lots of residential homes in that. And again, we've targeted some areas that we see blight, and that's what TIF's all about, is to
Yeah.
help with the blighted areas. So we've identified some targeted areas of blighted homes that we want to take care of. So that's what the whole program is for. But again, the type of improvements eligible for reimbursement under the program include the window repair or replacement, exterior siding repair or replacement, painting of homes, garages, sheds on the property, repair, addition of porches, steps, ramps, and other similar ADA compliant items, roof or fence repair, replacement, demolition of garage sheds or deteriorated structures, landscaping, planting of trees, dead tree removal, particularly the potential risk of property damage with those trees,
Sure.
water, sewer line repair, replacement of homes,
Hmm.
driveway repair, replacement of existing pavement of gravel or dirt lots. So basically anything that is going to improve the look of the home.
Yeah.
So again, in that small area down South Center, South Monroe Street, that's a targeted area right now. And the plan is to in the packet last night, the meeting, I gave the commissioners a letter, and we'll send that letter out to the homeowners in those areas. But anyone out in the city of Clinton, they're welcome to contact me for more information on this. Again, it's just that area right now, but I'm hoping by the end of the year, this new TIF 5 will encompass a good part of Clinton. And we can't guarantee everyone. We just
Sure.
can't. There's some areas that won't be in that targeted area. However, with that being said, part of the discussion has been we want to make this available to the entire city of Clinton at some point, but we can't do there are regulations, stipulations. You have to qualify for a TIF area, and I mentioned blighted areas. That's one way for an area to be to qualify. So we can't just incorporate a plan and say we're going to do the entire city of Clinton.
Yeah.
Plus it'd be too much to do. So if someone's not in a TIF area, the plan is at some point, it may take a few years, but the plan at some point is to get other areas incorporated into the TIF program as well.
Definitely.
So it's just a way to beautify Clinton. And, you're hearing me always talking about economic development. I'll say it again. I do believe that economic development and beautifying the city go hand in hand. I think that, if you've got businesses, factories, things like that, they're going to be driving through the area. They're going to look, well, what's Clinton all about? Well, if we've got rundown homes and vacant homes that are ready to fall down, they take a look at those. I know I mentioned it at another time I was here, when I had a business owner tell me, "Hey, Tony, when I bring a client in, I have to be careful what streets I travel down." Well, that's very concerning. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of this. So, and it's not just the city of Clinton. It's a partnership between the homeowners. So, they have to be willing to do this too. And this is one reason why we are doing this, so we can partnership with the homeowner to get these done. Now, when 75% that I talked about, that's for the primary residence. Now we're also going to try to help landlords or other properties like rental properties. We're going to help with that too. But again, a $5,000 cap, but that'll be paid at a 50% rate.
Gotcha.
So again, this is all new. Those numbers could change. The $5,000 residential cap that could change. If we see it's successful. we want to hear from the public. If they want to see more money put into that, then maybe we could increase that, or the $50,000 budget right now, maybe next year we can increase that. So we just need to, with this pilot program, just see how it goes, see who takes advantage of it and what they do, and then we'll grow it from there.
Yeah. So you had mentioned that there's $50,000 in the budget for this program right now. What is the plan for funding this program in the future once that $50,000 is up?
Well, every year we'll start working on the budget January or February for the next fiscal year. The next fiscal year will start May 1st of 2027, and we'll at that time, when we're looking at the budget, we'll see how successful this fiscal year went, and we'll take a look at it. And again, that's just a minimal area, but what's really gonna what we'll really look at is the new TIF district, the new TIF 5. If we are successful at getting that in the area by the end of the year, then we'll take a look at that area, and that will definitely have to be more than a $50,000 budget item. That'll be more, because that'll encompass a lot more.
Sure.
But again, this is not coming from this help, this grant is coming from the city of Clinton, but it's not coming from the general budget. It is coming from the TIF program.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
Again, I've talked a lot about this. If they want more information on TIF, I'm learning it. I learn something new every single week on TIF. I'd be happy to, have a phone conversation or sit down to discuss it. But it's a program where a percentage of the tax is going into a fund, and that's what funds the TIF.
Gotcha.
And
gotcha.
Two ways: residential and economic development, businesses, those type of things.
Definitely. Tony, I look at the clock. We are way overdue for a break, but really quick, I just want to hit on one thing. And it seems like, this residential exterior improvement program, that kind of covers somewhat of the funding side of beautifying the home, and the block by block program, that somewhat covers the hands, the volunteers.
Yes.
How do these two programs interact? Are they going to be mutually exclusive? Are they going to purposely try and work together at the same time?
A little bit of both, Ben. This program I just talked about, it's going to be more the homeowner would hire the contractor. That's what this program is going to be. The block by block is going to be a lot of volunteer work. But again, this program, the TIF program, is only in a boundary,
right? It's not the whole city.
It's not the entire city of Clinton. The block by block is going to encompass the entire city, but again, we're going to concentrate on blocks. So concentrating on blocks, knowing that in this area we have other funding, that's where the volunteer help, this other funding could come in handy, where it could work together. If it's outside of this boundary of the TIF, then it's totally volunteer, and then we've got some money set aside to help.
Definitely. Well, Tony, this segment has been just about 18 minutes. Let's take a break. Let's take a quick break. More to come with Tony Harris, the Clinton City Administrator, on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW. Chevrolet is the heartbeat of America, and now is the time to celebrate our nation's birthday in a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City, inviting you to come see our selection of Chevrolets, like the sporty Chevrolet Trax and the good-looking Trailblazer. We also have a good selection of Chevrolet Equinox and the full-size Traverse. Chevrolet, together let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Don't let a summer sniffle turn into a summer setback. Warner Hospital's walk-in clinic has you covered. No appointment necessary. Just walk in and be seen by our caring medical team. Warner Hospital Walk-in Clinic, right here when you need us.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
It's the WHOW Morning Show. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. We continue with our guest in studio, Tony Harris, the Clinton City Administrator. And Tony, in just our last minute and a half or so here, we got some concerts coming up this weekend. Let's dive into what we're going to see.
This is another thing that's very, very exciting. Friday night, July the 24th, starting at 7 p.m., we have Voodoo Exiles. This is a Rolling Stones tribute band that will
Nice.
be on the Mr. Lincoln Square. We are going to close off the entire square, similar to what we did during the America 250 celebration, but just for that evening, we'll close the square down. We think around 5 o'clock. 5 p.m. we'll close the square down. So if anyone would like to bring their lawn chairs up a little early, we are going to have a food truck up there as well. 343 barbecue food truck will be there, and they'll be there ready to serve at 5 o'clock, serve dinner. So what a great evening. And we talked a little bit about the weather. So your phone's saying one thing, my phone's saying another thing on the weather. So hopefully it's going to be cool. We can
Yes.
say that.
Yeah.
So hopefully bring a hoodie out. Show up there for the concert starting Friday night on Mr. Lincoln Square at 7 o'clock. If you want to have dinner at the food truck there, but also you have some businesses there on the square that serve food as well and off the square. If you don't want to eat at the food truck, look at those businesses that serve food there.
Tony,
Next-
I'm sorry, I got to cut you off right there.
Okay.
But where's the best place for everyone to keep up with the calendar of these concerts and finding more information?
City of Clinton Facebook is the best place to keep up with that.
Once again, that is Tony Harris, the Clinton City Administrator, on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
From SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. America's top diplomat says there's no way Iran can be allowed to control the Strait of Hormuz. Secretary of State Rubio says that doing so would set a very dangerous precedent. The U.S. putting the pedal to the metal with its Iran offensive, an 11th night of attacks targeting sites across the Islamic Republic.